It's a privilege and a pleasure for me to be here. Bob, you were just mentioned. Denise, you were just mentioned. Would both of you please stand up? Bob and Denise, please stand up. Where's the... Yeah. I'm in this room in part because of those two that I've known for quite a while along the journey. And I just want to say to you, thank you. The ripple effect of what you've done through FCA has touched so many lives, including mine, that I'm in the room in large part because of our friendship goes back all those many years. So I'm just one of many. I've got the mic, but on behalf of all of us, we just give you a huge round of applause and say thank you. If you've seen me speak before, raise your hand. Hands down. If you've never seen me speak before, raise your hand. Okay. So for those of you that don't know who I am, I'm Dr. Jarrod Spencer. I'm a sports psychologist, a longtime friend of Fellowship of Christian Athletes. Got involved at Lafayette College when I helped to start FCA at Lafayette back in my day. And ever since then, it's been a significant part of my life. Everything I do at Mind of the Athlete is based upon a simple message of clearer mind, better performance. Say that with me out loud. Ready? Clearer mind, better performance. Take your finger, push the person next to you in the head and tell them, clearer mind, better performance. Go. There it is. Go. And my whole ministry of clear mind, better performance is actually a paraphrase of a little known verse in the Bible from Acts 24:16, where the Apostle Paul said, I strive to keep my conscience clear before God and all people. How you doing with that yourself? Striving to keep your conscience clear before God and all people. That's my ministry. That's my sweet spot. And I'm excited to be here today with you to help you with that. Now, before we get to our content, if you can see the screen, I've got a few mental tests for you, challenges for you. Tell the person next to you right now they're about to get beat. Tell them. Yeah, talk some trash. Talk some trash. Raise your hand when you can find the same two emojis. Go. Raise your hand when you can find the same two emojis. Reading faces. Paying attention to feelings. Can you see it? Yeah, it's hard with the light. Yeah. Oh, right there, right there, right there. Okay. If you can, read this out loud. Ready? Go. Very good, very good, very good. And your last one. Lift your right foot off the ground and rotate it clockwise. Clockwise, go ahead and move your foot. Clockwise, right arm out in front of you. Keep your foot going in the same direction without changing your foot direction. Go ahead and draw number 6 with your right hand. Go. What? Can you do it? Could anybody do it? We got one. We got one. All right, your minds are warmed up. We're ready for our content. Raise your hand if you're a coach. Raise your hand if you do some coaching in here. Coaches, coaches, coaches. As a sports psychologist, my passion is to get to the coaches. Why? Because I believe you can have the biggest ripple effect for my message out there. In today's Mind of the Coach talk, I'm going to be focusing on energy, how emotions impact performance, and specifically, the topic that I'm speaking on the most around the country is emotional energy management. Emotional energy management is the key to your ability to be an effective coach. And it's because I'm concerned about your emotional energy management that I'm here today. What is emotional energy? It's your psychological capacity. How much capacity do you have to effectively deal? Of course you can deal with problems, but how effectively? Your psychological capacity to effectively deal with the immediate stressors, right here, right now, at this moment. How much gas do you have in the tank emotionally to handle some problems? We measure emotional energy on a self-report scale of 0 to 100. It's like a report card. If you're in the 90s, that's an A. Great job, you have a great workout, you're funny, you're pleasant to be around. If you're in the 80s, not bad, that's like a B. You feel pretty productive, pretty good. In the 70s, you start to feel fatigue creep in. And once you hit 70, that is the tipping point number, and everything below that is when you start to go negative. Negative thinking creeps in for you at 69, 68, 60, and you can feel yourself starting to plummet, starting to spiral out of control. Just shake your head if you know what I'm talking about. In sports, we call that breaking. The other team, we want to break them. We want their emotional energy to go, and then they just take their foot off the gas. Like, they don't want to cry out there, so they just kind of give up and give in. And in every athletic competition, you can see it and feel it like, okay, get the backups warmed up. Why? They're broke, right? They went below 70 and they're not coming back. I want to help you as a coach to keep your emotional energy greater than 70. Why? Because when you're greater than 70, your intelligence is going to override your emotions. You make logical decisions, rational choices. You're smart. You're calculated. You've got wisdom. But as soon as your emotions start to get greater than your intelligence, you're not you, right? You're not that pleasant version that you want to show the world, right? In fact, you might be like my favorite comedian. My favorite comedian of all time, the reason I like him is in every single movie he's in, he reaches a tipping point, he breaks, he emotionally unravels, and he reminds me of myself. Raise your hand if you like Will Ferrell too. Turn the person next to you right now and tell them your favorite Will Ferrell movie where he unravels. Go. Did anybody say Old School? Yeah, Old School. Now, even though Will Ferrell is my favorite comedian, and you can relate to him too, the truth is the actor that I want to be most like, the actor that I admire, his personality, the one that seems to be the one that I want to follow, is this guy. Nod your head if you like Morgan Freeman. Yeah. Come on, this guy literally played God, right? I want you to read, you can't see Morgan on there, but he's there. Read this quote out loud together. Ready? 1, 2, 3, go. Don't allow your emotions to overpower your intelligence. And this is why I'm so passionate about coming here to FCA and working with coaches, is because I'm seeing too many wonderful people, coaches, have a fall from grace because in that one moment, their emotions overrode their intelligence. They were below the tipping point number. The filter was down. They said it. You can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. Yeah. And we lost another great coach. One bad moment, and they're dropping. And our youth need our coaches. They need you, and they need you to be the emotionally healthiest version of yourself so that you can protect yourself from one of those moments where you unravel. Just nod your head if you agree with what I'm saying. Yeah. So how do we do that? Well, a study was done out in England, and they talked about the science behind endurance. What they found was this. As you increase in mental fatigue, your perception of effort goes up. Some of you, day one of camp, oh, this is great, this is wonderful, I've got all this energy. Day 3, I'm sore, I'm tired, it's going to take more. Your perception of how much it's going to take of you is greater because you're mentally fatiguing. And as the perception of effort goes up, your self-talk starts to go down. And when the self-talk starts to go down, your energy goes down. This is the recipe for how athletes give up. They give up when the perception of effort is too great. And they say, I think I'm done. And I don't want you to give up either as a coach by taking your foot off the gas. Instead, I want you to increase your self-talk. I want that voice inside of your head, that conversation with yourself, which, by the way, some studies say is up to 4,000 words per minute. You're speaking to you're listening to me, but you're having a running conversation with yourself the whole time. And it's so fast, you don't have to speak in complete sentences. You can just give a partial sentence, you know what it is, and you're moving on. That self-talk we want to be more positive, because if it is, less mental fatigue, less perception of effort, increased endurance. Jarrod, I'm with you. So where are you going with this? Let me be really blunt about it. The thing that I'm most worried about for you is that privately, in your life in general, like most leaders this side of the pandemic, you're burning out. You're burning out. Your emotional gas tank is low. And what I'm seeing everywhere, and this is actually a World Health Organization just made, did you know this, that burnout is now a medical diagnosis? Did you know that? Burnout is now a medical, we're seeing it everywhere, in part because you have the work ethic of the past, yes? Hard work ethic, but you're now working with a technology that you can't keep up with, yes? No matter how many emails you send, you get more in return. You can't keep up. The better you get at social media, now you need somebody to manage your social media. You can't keep up. That burnout is out there, and it's everywhere. Here in the Lehigh Valley where I live, teachers are leaving their jobs at an accelerating rate in Pennsylvania. Talked to one superintendent, he said, I had one applicant for a teaching position. Can't get teachers, burning out. We have an old stone farmhouse. We had some people come and paint the shutters way up high. I'm very afraid to go up on the ladder that high. This woman went up there and painted. I was talking to her. I said, how did you get into this? She said, I used to be an art teacher. I love to paint. But she's like, I just can't manage the stress of the kids in the school system anymore. So I'd rather paint, but do it this way. Last month I was in West Palm Beach, Florida, speaking at a physicians conference, healthcare provider conference. And at the conference, what was my talk about? Emotional energy management. Why? Because the physicians and healthcare workers are burning out. Tomorrow morning, I'll catch a plane. I'll go back to Seattle for the second time this month to go work at Microsoft. Their CEO values this stuff a lot. And because he values it so much, they actually have a whole series of videos that they're rolling out at Microsoft where I'm talking about emotional energy management. It's in the tech world. It's in the teaching world. It's in this room, isn't it? I want to help you with your emotional energy management. And the root of the problem is something that occurred in 2010. Something changed in 2010 that changed your world and changed mental health forever. Tell the person next to you what happened in 2010 that changed mental health forever. Go. So, in 2007, the iPhone was released. By 2010, many and most college students actually had a smartphone. And with the smartphone came social media. And right here in 2010, there's a jump in anxiety, the red line anxiety. This is on college campuses. And the New York Times said, why are college kids suddenly so anxious? You can see the chart. It's gone up and up and up. And so if you think about some of the kids that are at camp today, from the time they were born, they always had a phone in front of them to kind of soothe them. And they're neurologically hardwired. Before I came in here, I spoke to some basketball players, some cheerleaders, talked to them about sleep. Massive problem for them because they've all learned to fall asleep with a device that's blocking melatonin. And then while they're taking melatonin, some of them, while they're taking anti-melatonin right here. You see the problem? And so the pace of your life is much faster with the phone. Just like the washing machine was supposed to save us time, we do as much laundry now or more than we did before washing machines. The cell phone was supposed to save you time, but now you're logging, most people, 6 hours a day. And by the way, most people are averaging 6 hours of sleep, which means like half of us are getting more screen time than sleep a day. And therein lies the root of the problem when it comes to the mental health crisis. I want to help you to have a clearer mind, better health, and better performance. So there are two questions that you're going to unpack with your table here as we shift to more of the interpersonal dialogue. Here's the first question. What's draining you of your emotional energy? And to the degree that you feel comfortable sharing and disclosing with the people at your table, just tip the cards and let people in, because what I've often found is this. We all present well, but when somebody starts to share a little bit, it's like, yeah, I'm feeling that too. That's in our house too as well. And sometimes there's incredible validation when you realize you're not alone. Maybe it's a sleep problem. Maybe it's an injury, a medical condition. Maybe there's a vice. Or maybe you're just overextended and chronically running on empty. Whatever it may be, I want you to take a few minutes and just go ahead and talk with your group about emotional energy management and the things that are draining you. Ready, set, go. There's a wonderful book out there, The Emotional Energy Factor. In that mirror says, just as physical energy comes from diet, exercise, and rest, emotional energy comes from the ways that you take care of yourself emotionally. And if you're anything like me growing up, I was taught how to deal with my emotions by suck it up, don't whine, don't complain, don't cry about it. Raise your hand if you got a little of that along your journey as well. Suck it up, yeah. But living in a way that makes you feel inspired, hopeful, self-confident, playful, loving, and in touch with what you care about the most. Taking care of your emotional health. So the most important question I have for you today is simply this. What actually restores your emotional energy? Where are the places that you go when you need to recharge? Where do you go? Think about that for a moment. Who are the people that you want to surround yourself with because they raise your emotional energy? And what are the things you like to do? When it's time for you to take care of you, when it's time for you to raise your emotional energy, who are the people? Where are the places? What are the things that you do for your emotional energy management? I want you to go back to your group and I want you to share the people, places, and things that raise your emotional energy. Go. Well done, well done, well done. Take another moment and begin to wrap up the conversation and bring your eyes back to the front. Now, in true confession, as I stand here in front of you, one of the ways that I like to increase my emotional energy is ice cream. Just nod your head if you feel that as well. Going out for a little ice cream, having a little ice cream, that is one of the things that I just say, you know what, I want to take a break. Actually, I'm on a quest to find the best ice cream on the planet with the best venue to eat it, right? Kimball's Farm in Jasper, New Hampshire is number one on the list. If you've never been there before, I'm not surprised. We got one person. Isn't it amazing? Yeah, you get a small, it's like the size of a softball. It's a beautiful venue. Kimball's Farm is still number one. Okay, I digress. Your emotional energy restoration is the key to your ability to stay in ministry. Want some evidence? Jesus fed a couple thousand people. Pretty impressive. What did he do after that? Right? He pushed off, he went away up in the mountains and by himself, and he prayed. He was restoring his emotional energy. And time again in the Bible, you see Jesus do something amazing, and then it says, and he went off by himself, right? Where do you fall on the extroverted, introverted continuum? Because extroverts recharge being around people, introverts recharge being away from people. I'm 51% introverted, 49% extroverted, right? And so how do you recharge? And like Jesus, maybe you need to peel away. You serve, you give, you love, you help. But if I'm being really honest with you, you're probably not giving to yourself enough. That your self-care probably needs to be a little bit better than what it is. And the biggest problem we have in our society is when we do get a break, when you do get time off for your mind to relax, what do you often do? Pull out our phone, right? And thus our mind is constantly going. If you could just go off into the mountain, cool picture of Jesus up there on the mountain. If you can go up there onto the mountain and pray like he did, that would be recharge. Maybe it's grounding, walking around on your grass with your shoes off, feeling the recharge, or maybe your feet in the sand. Maybe it's journaling early in the morning. Maybe it's putting on your AirPods with some relaxing piano music with no lyrics and just going for a walk, listening to some Christian music, looking at God's beauty all around you, recharging that way. Maybe it's the cold tub. Anybody do that after last year's talk? Yeah, we got one. There's one. It's pretty amazing. Or maybe you're going to recommit to working out. Like, what are you really working out when you work out? You're actually working out the emotion, that negativity, that frustration, that anger, and after a good workout, you actually feel better. You released it. Maybe that's something you need to do more. Or maybe you sit around a fire pit at nighttime, under the stars, where we actually put in effect the no phone around the fire pit rule. You ever do that? Raise your hand if you like to sit under the stars at nighttime in the summertime. Just look up, right? It's so beautiful. But whatever it may be for you, I want you to get the benefits from emotional energy management, which means you have more in the tank for for the people you love the most at the end of the day. Instead of giving them you at 65, you might be able to give them you at 85. Big difference, right? And so if you can have more in your gas tank because you're managing your emotional energy better, then you're the emotionally healthier version of yourself. Your emotional health matters. Let me say that again. Your emotional health, it really, really matters. And it really matters to FCA. We need you to take better care of your emotional energy. This ministry needs you. These kids need you. And God wants you to let your light shine. And if your emotional energy is higher, all that good stuff that He put inside of you can shine forth. And you can impact lots of people like Serena. Yeah, I just said your name. So, my favorite person serving in Baltimore, come on up. Come on, yeah. You're coming up now. Right? Come on. Serena's just one of all of us. But you know her, and you know her ministry, and you know what she's doing in Baltimore, and she's serving, and she's loving, and she's just being the hands and feet of Jesus in a world that desperately needs that kind of light to shine. You have that same light that she has. But isn't it interesting when you're around her, you just feel that light? You know, you see that look in her eye, and you just can feel her presence. I want you to keep letting your light shine like Serena does, because the more you do that, the more you impact lots of people, change the world. Let's give it up for Serena. I did that. Yeah. So as you come down the home stretch of our time here together today, I end by saying this. What is the number one predictor of longevity in sports? What is the number one predictor of how long a kid is actually going to stay involved with a sport? Think about it. Think about your answer. Tell the person next to you, go. And the answer is support. Support. A kid that has somebody pick them up, take them to practice, bring them home to practice, come to a game, hey, how was your game? The more the kid has support, the more likely the kid's going to stay in it. It's the same for you. We need you to keep thriving. And the way that you can do that, team stands for what?
Together everyone achieves more.
Together everyone achieves more. The way you can do that is by leaning on your support here at FCA. And so I bring this thing full circle on emotional energy management today by saying to you, we got this, man. We got this because we know God's got this. But we need to lean in on each other, keeping our emotional energy high, recharging our batteries, keeping the drains a little bit lower. And so I end by asking you to do this. Stand up, and you can either high five, fist pound, or maybe even hug, but give as many as you possibly can so we can all recharge in the room together. Thanks so much. God bless. On your feet, on your feet, on your feet. Go hug it out.